The European community has set itself the challenge of making Europe the largest single market in the world by 1992. To achieve this, the member states have agreed to eliminate technical barriers to trade and bring about a genuine single market. At Jaguar, we're already planning our marketing and production strategies to take full advantage of this opportunity. As the barriers come down, we're looking to increase sales in the European community by 50%. But how will these changes affect your business? Will you be ready to exploit the full potential of a single market in Europe with its opportunities for all of us in business? It means a fundamental change in our approach. So find out all you need to know. The information is available. Your involvement is critical. We in industry must be ready as Europe opens for business.
Seize the opportunity. Phone 01200 1992.
Fresh and fragrant. Mild and caring. Timotei, enriched with natural herb extracts. To leave your hair silky and shiny. Bright and beautiful. Timotei, so mild you can wash your hair as often as you like.
When you enter any participating station, be sure to, for Shell, for every you spend on petrol, diesel, or every litre of, you'll be given a, collect 5 and you'll get a, collect 15 and you'll get towel. For 25, a hand towel. And for 40, a towel. Alternatively, add some cash to your, and you can, for any of these, from the catalogue, like this, a slimline, and even a, all delivered free to your doorstep. So why not to your Shell station soon, and your collection now. It's a whole lot of collect and select from Shell. The choice is yours.
If you're a fan of The Master Detective, you'll be glad to know that there's a variety of Holmes paraphernalia associated with the series, including a book celebrating 100 years of inspired detection, a record, and 6 puzzling cases available on VHS cassette.
How to get on the wrong side of Frank Bruno.
Frankly, I'm not HP.
How to get on the right side of Frank Bruno. Only one sauce can give all Frank's favourite foods the necessary punch. So in a couple of shakes, he's completely HP.
Don't be surprised to find dirty plates and glasses beating a path towards the best thing to happen to dishwashers in ages. New concentrated Sun Liquid. Because it's a liquid, New Sun dissolves more easily and goes to work much faster. So it leaves everything gleaming. New Sun Liquid. Only when it pours will you get that sunshine.
All right, Yvette, I'll be off then.
Okay, Peter. Bye-bye. Tout à l'heure.
Lime's fault. You remembered.
To the Penguin. Buy a 6-pack. Get an extra bar free. To the Penguin. Penguin.
I'm Ben Squires from Loughborough. I'm a technical apprentice on the YTS. When we started with the company, we spent 3 weeks in each of the departments. I decided to do my training in the electrical section. I've learnt a lot of practical skills and communication skills, and I've also been doing a BTEC course at college. When I started, I was very shy, but now I've come out of my shell a bit. I've learnt a lot of things on the YTS, and it's all relevant, and I think I've done quite well. A good introduction to work would be a very good way of putting it, and I think it's a very essential thing to do. And that's why I agreed to be an advert for the YTS.
The best advertisement for YTS is the people who've done it.
Bobby Robson tested his England squad in Hungary today with the European finals only weeks away. Jack Charlton too reviewed prospects for the Republic of Ireland. See how they got on in a full rundown of international action on Midweek Sports Special after news at 10.
This is Thames from London. The time now is 10 o'clock, and that means it's news time with ITN.
Mr. Moore gives back 100 million and stops a rebellion. P&O flies its men to Rotterdam to break the ferry strike. The new campaign against cancer and the woman who beat it. Russian troops get ready to leave Afghanistan, but to whom? And Britain's water polo stars are in hot water. Good evening. The government prevented a rebellion in its ranks tonight by softening the blow to some of the losers in its social security reforms. A Labour motion attacking the changes was defeated by a majority of 96. No Conservatives voted with them. Ministers deny that today's concessions, worth £100 million, amount to a U-turn. For Labour, Mr. Robin Cook called them sticking plasters over the cuts. Mr. Moore, the Social Services Secretary, announced that people can now have £8,000 worth of savings instead of £6,000 before all housing benefit is lost. There'll be compensation for others who've lost more than £2.50 a week, and benefit penalties on people entering care homes will be relaxed.
Mrs. Thatcher chaired the meeting, which finalised the details of what is the third government climb down in a fortnight, and certainly the most embarrassing. But as a result, John Moore, the Secretary of State for Social Services, was able to deliver the money required to help those worst affected by housing benefit cuts. People who get housing benefit, mainly those on low incomes, start losing some of it once their savings reach more than £3,000. That's unchanged. Under the changes brought in earlier this month, as savings grew, benefit was cut, and no housing benefit was given once savings reached £6,000. Today, the government said people with £6,000 saved would now get some benefit because they were raising the upper limit to £8,000. But above this, there'll be none. But there are many others, the old, the disabled, and people with children, who've also lost housing benefit because of various changes to the system. Now the government says that if they've lost more than £2.50 a week, they'll get that money back. The rebellion threatened by Conservative backbenchers faded away as Mr. Moore outlined his proposals. But the long-term question remains. How significant will these concessions be to those who have lost out? Some of the biggest losers are certainly going to be helped. The Brown family of Windermere, for instance, who originally were more than £16 a week worse off, are expected to get about half that money back, although they, like other claimants, are going to have to wade through a lot of small print to find out what to expect.
I think the government has taken the first step towards removing some of the worst hardships inflicted by their own new scheme. But it's only a first step. There's a long way yet to go. To put it in perspective, yesterday 5,700,000 people were losing out as a result of the cuts. This afternoon there are still 5,300,000 losing out as a result of these housing benefit cuts.
Mr. Moore, whose future in the Cabinet has been put in question by the whole affair, denies the government's made a mess of the benefits issue.
I think if we hadn't recognised problems, you'd call us stubborn. It's always difficult in government. You know, if you actually try to be sensible and adjust when you think things are wrong, you're regarded as U-turning. If you actually don't, you're told you're very stubborn. I think we've been sensible and sensitive. We've reacted intelligently to the situation.
Conservative MPs accept that Mr. Moore has helped to meet their fears.
Well, it's certainly a great improvement, and I'm absolutely delighted that Mr. Moore has felt able to respond to the representations made to him by many Conservative MPs.
Has he responded adequately in your view?
Well, we shall have to obviously study the fine print of this over the next few days, but certainly his response is enough for me to feel able to support the government.
The government has bought itself a breathing space with today's concessions, but it seems certain that critics inside the Conservative Party as well as outside will soon be back asking for more. One Conservative MP commented as the debate ended that the government had corrected its blunder, but what remained was still a mistake. Peter Allen, News at 10, Westminster.
Most people think the living standards of poor families have got worse in recent years, according to a Marplan opinion poll. In a sample of over 1,000 people, 17% thought they got better, but 50% thought they'd got worse. On the health service, 6% thought it had improved and 65% thought it had got worse. Today, Mrs. Thatcher defended the use of charitable donations to fund hospital equipment. She was opening a cardiac wing at Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital in London. She urged the public to make their own personal contribution to the health service after they'd paid their taxes. This message was repeated tonight by the Education Secretary, Mr. Baker. He said, "From those who have much, much is expected."
P&O have staged an elaborate operation to fly nearly 250 new workers secretly to Rotterdam to break the 13-week-old ferry strike. Tonight, the new crews are preparing to sail 2 ferries back to Britain as soon as safety inspectors have carried out their checks. The strike spread during the day, affecting sailings from Folkestone and Hull. French seamen gave their support, saying they'd black any non-union labour. P&O say they've received 5,000 applications to their job advertisements, many from former Royal Navy personnel. But at the port of Dover, 100 jobs are being cut because of a loss of business. 2 court cases, one by Sea Link alleging secondary picketing and another by the National Union of Seamen claiming a breach of contract by P&O, were adjourned to give time for more evidence to be presented. We have 3 reports tonight.
The flight to Rotterdam was shrouded in secrecy from the start. The details of the destination of Danair Flight 9006 from Gatwick were removed from the flight board before it took off. And when the 250 seamen on board landed at Rotterdam, they stayed inside the plane for an hour, anxious to avoid the cameras. Eventually, coaches were brought to the tarmac to collect them and take them straight to the dockside. Their mood seemed defiant despite the prospect of facing a mass picket on their return to Dover. Some at least, though, did not want to be identified. They fear intimidation might be used against families back in Britain. The crews lined up to board the ferries and attend their first briefing from the ship's masters in 3 months. Their skills, training and qualifications will have to pass muster before they're allowed to take the ships out. The company has brought in 2 nautical surveyors to assess them and the 5 vessels berthed in Rotterdam. They were watched by an official from the National Union of Seamen, who could only look on helplessly from the other side of the fence.
Well, I don't know if they fully realize that they're being used more as a battering ram than anything else by P&O to press the National Union of Seamen.
On board the ferries, Dutch dockyard workers were helping the P&O crews add the finishing touches to the ships. 2 of them are now fully stocked and ready to go. Throughout the day, tenders moored alongside the ferries have been delivering supplies of oil, petrol and water. The morale amongst the skeleton crews seem to be high, though they don't know what to expect in Dover. All the ratings who are sailing in the strike-breaking fleet are members of the National Union of Seamen, who gave up the strike after accepting the company's new working conditions. It's now thought all 5 of the vessels may leave for Dover by the end of this week. David Chater, News at 10 in Rotterdam.
Ignoring renewed legal threats to the Seamen's Union, activists set about escalating the dispute on a wide front. Pickets maintain their stranglehold at Dover's East Dock, stopping any British manned vessels sailing. Sea Link bussed in the crew of one ferry, the St Anselm, brushing aside the pickets. Some Sea Link staff stood up to get off, but they were stopped by managers blocking the exit. They refused to board the vessel, walking back to the gates and out of the dock to the delight of the sacked P&O strikers.
It's got to be sorted out a bit fast, isn't it? They're breaking the community. So the sooner everything's sorted out, everybody can get back to work. We want to work, but we want to work with safety in mind.
Cancelled signs for all but foreign manned sailings greeted disconsolate customers. The Port Authority's suffering heavy financial losses, £2.5 million so far, and announced it wants to axe 100 jobs, 1 in 10. Folkestone Sea Link sailings were hit, pickets persuading crews there to join the protest, but insisting the action was unofficial. Passengers were disappointed, but sympathies were mixed.
If there's men being put out of work, I don't blame them fighting for their jobs.
they've got the choice, and so far as strikes are concerned, I think that there's a choice of jobs, and a strike should be out anyway.
We're a bit disappointed, naturally. You know, we'd, thought we'd get a few duty-frees on the way.
The Seamen's Union said it would cope even if the court seized its funds.
Oh, we'll cope. We've been skint before. I think I said that before too, you know. Money's no the route, but it's right when they fall for money.
P&O, meanwhile, was gleefully counting applications for jobs to replace the sacked union men. They say 5,000 have written in for 600 jobs on offer. The chairman, on a flying visit, appeared confident his strategy for breaking the strike was ready to be triggered.
Well, I think all I can say is we had a very interesting time with all our people at Gatwick. Nearly 250 of them went off. Great spirits, great excitement, and they're looking forward to sailing again.
And when will they be sailing?
You'll be seeing them soon.
What about the French?
Helicoptering back to his London headquarters, Sir Geoffrey is preparing for a major and possibly decisive confrontation within a matter of hours. Michael Green, News at 10, Dover.
The delegation of 4 Seamen's Union leaders was met in Calais by leaders of France's biggest union, the CGT, and the French Seamen's Union, the CFDT. At the end of their 4-hour meeting, the French had agreed to black P&O ships in Calais, Boulogne and Dunkirk to force P&O to return to the arbitration service ACAS. In front of the Pride of Canterbury, stranded in Calais, the two sides agreed to invite the Dutch and Belgian unions to a meeting in Ostend next week.
As we agreed, we shall do all that we can to prevent P&O ships, as long as they are manned by non-union crews, prevent them from docking and leaving the French ports.
And what's the position in Belgium and Holland?
Well, we're assured by the Belgian unions in particular that they will give the same response that the French have. And all I can say is that the Entente Cordiale lives.
The outcome of these talks represents a serious blow to P&O's attempts to get their fleet moving if the unions can carry out their threat to black the company on both sides of the channel. Glenn O'Glaser, News at 10, Calais.
Teachers at the Manchester Comprehensive School, where a 13-year-old Asian boy was stabbed to death by a white boy, have demanded the publication of a secret inquiry into the incident. The report apparently concludes that doctrinaire anti-racist policies worsened divisions within the school treated all whites as racists, and the headmaster and his 2 deputies must be transferred.
Burnage Comprehensive has a substantial Asian minority. It was in an effort to lessen racial tension that the school's head teacher and deputies pursued active anti-racist policies. Yet 13-year-old Ahmad Ullah was stabbed to death by a white boy his own age in a racist attack. His mother said she didn't want special treatment for her son, she wanted equal treatment.
He was very loving, kind-hearted and friendly, most popular with his friends, among his friends. He was very athletic and brilliant student.
His death must have come as a terrible shock to you.
It's devastating. It's not only shock, it's devastating.
Barrister Ian MacDonald's still unpublished report on the school says their anti-racist policy was an unmitigated disaster.
The paradox of Burnage was that you had a racial polarization on a scale which didn't occur and has never occurred in any other Manchester school, in a school which had a commitment, and a very strong commitment, to anti-racist education.
The staff accept mistakes were made, but say things are improving.
There are working parties of boys, of parents and of staff looking at anti-racist policies and considering how we might rewrite our own anti-racist policy.
Manchester City Council insists that it's not trying to conceal the findings of the report. It says as soon as its lawyers have checked it for libel, it will be published in full. Mark Webster, News at 10, Manchester.
A big campaign against cancer is to be launched throughout Europe, and this is what can cause the fastest growing type of the disease, a report in part 2. Also, councils are told it's up to you to try to house the homeless immigrants and the British artist who's making a fortune in America with pictures of the Second World War. That's in a couple of minutes.
As well as studying automotive design, the engineers at Audi also study people design. It helped them determine the optimum all-round vision for the Audi 80. It helped them calculate the ideal amount of headroom. It helped them develop a more comfortable armrest and shape the most supportive seats. In fact, in the pursuit of perfect ergonomics, no one has looked at people more closely. Vorsprung durch Technik, as we now observe people are saying.
When pain strikes, ask your pharmacist for Nurofen. It's gentle, and you can't buy a more effective painkiller.
Buonanotte.
Waiter, could we have more coffee, please?
Sì, signore.
Ciao.
Ciao, Franco.
Because we thought making filter coffee was sometimes a bit of an effort, we made Brook Bond Red Mountain. Red Mountain is freeze-dried to taste fresh and richly roasted.
Signorina.
Lovely, thank you.
Waiter.
You wanted the bill?
Yes, please.
Of course.
And one last coffee, please.
Red Mountain. It's like ground coffee taste without the grind.
When you DIY to do, Payless will see you through. Payless for DIY.
Today, more than 30 different accounts give you a cash card which carries the link symbol. To link you to the national cash network, right around the country, right around the clock. You can draw cash in around 1,000 high streets, shopping centres, even airports and petrol stations, wherever you see the link symbol. Link, the national cash network.
A national survey into people's attitudes towards cancer shows that it's feared more than any other disease. The report comes as a big campaign to reduce the number of deaths from cancer is about to be launched across Europe. At the moment, 1 in every 4 people in Britain will get cancer during their lifetime, with lung cancer the biggest killer. Keith Hatfield reports on the impact of cancer here.
Each day, Anne Johnson walks her dog in the local churchyard. 15 years ago, she was told she had cancer of the breast, spine, pelvis and ovaries. She was given a year to live, but after treatment, today she is well.
My husband and I planned what he would do after I was dead, and I thought about my funeral, all sorts of stupid things like that. And in fact, of course, it was totally unnecessary. I'm living, as it were, on my extra time, and I'm enjoying it very much.
But doctors now believe that most cancers can be prevented if we learn how to avoid the disease.
I've given figures of up to 90%. I don't mean that that is actually practicable, that we can be certain of avoiding that number, but we shall be able to discover ways in which we can avoid a very, very high proportion of all cancers, certainly well over 50% and probably 3/4.
The best-known way of avoiding cancer is not to smoke. Tobacco contains 40 cancer-causing substances. Glasgow here is the lung cancer capital of the world. Fewer people are smoking, but lung cancer is still by far the biggest killer. Donald McNeil, a 53-year-old merchant seaman who'd smoked all his life, was admitted to hospital with lung cancer. It kills nearly 300 people every day.